Hey, Tom.
Good morning, Pat.
How are you, my good man?
I'm good. I'm really excited for this episode.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
you want to introduce this one? I guess it's going to be me.
It's gonna be me.
Today we're going to take a deep dive into the music videos of the boy band NSYNC in chronological order and discuss what can be gleaned from the hairdos and positioning and just general vibe of the members and group dynamics as you go back and watch them on YouTube. And I think there's a lot we can learn, and I'm excited to go through it with you today.
Awesome. I can't wait. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Caitlin from Colorado Springs. I hope you're here. I hope you're listening. This is a much anticipated episode for the past 5 days. And we're going to get into it. But as we usually do with these power hours, I'm going to give a couple little fun facts, things I didn't know about the band that others may find interesting. Already before we started recording, this fun fact was highly contested by Pat. NSYNC apparently is an acronym using the last letter of each member's first name, being Justin, Chris, Joey, Jason, and JC. And that spells out NSYNC. Justin's mother, Lynn, was the one who came up with the idea. And when Lance joined the band after replacing, was it Jason? They nicknamed him Lanston in order to fit the acronym.
Is that from Wikipedia?
It's from Buzzfeed, so you know it's real.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
They actually honestly take their entertainment stuff too seriously. I once read like a 4,000 word breakdown of the Katy Perry Taylor Swift rivalry.
Is that when we did the whole episode on it?
Yeah, with like Instagram receipts and everything. It was riveting. I'm not even trying to be funny, but
They're kind of
no, I
weirdly
thought I had
killing
heard
it.
them on a TV show in like the early 2000s saying, "Yeah, we were doing a thing in the living room for one of our grandmas," and they were like, "Wow, you guys are really in sync," and we were like, "Hey, man, that sounds good." And I don't know if that's just a doctored story, but I took them at their word in the moment.
Sure. I remember the first time I heard of them, I was on this I don't know if you call it vacation. My friend Pat asked me to go to, I think it was SeaWorld down near Pittsburgh, and we were at the Sheraton. I was probably his fourth choice, it seemed out of place to me that he would ask me to go, but I'm sure 3 other people said no. But his cousin was there, and she was,
Sound
I
like
was
a very self-aware young man.
right. I was like, this doesn't add up, but I'll go.
But I'll take it. I'm coming for you, Shamu.
I'm listening to Backstreet Boys and on my CD player or something, and his cousin was like, "Have you ever heard of NSYNC?" And this was right around the time when Iroquois did their lip sync competition, and I was like, "Oh, you mean lip syncing?"
Oh, right.
And she was like, "No, what's that?" I just remember being kind of embarrassed, being so sure that I was correcting her. Oh no, it's pronounced lip syncing.
Just 2 kids standing there like that Spider-Man meme, just pointing both not knowing what those words are. Either way, there's this boy band I want you to hear, and we're missing the point entirely.
And my last little anecdote was that song "Girlfriend," which I could have swore was just a Justin Timberlake solo song.
Can't confirm or deny that.
I happened to be sitting behind this girl, Bethany, on the school bus in 6th grade, and that song came on, and I pointed at her. I started singing. I was like, "Won't you? You should be my girlfriend." And then we ended up dating after that for many months, and just because that song was on, and I was like, "Oh, that would be funny." And then we actually started dating, and
It would be funny.
it was a very serious relationship. I don't think we talked the whole time.
Nice.
And when I
What
broke
grade?
up with maybe 6th grade.
Ooh, okay.
And when we broke up, my stepbrother Corey, who you were friends with, he wanted, I forget, he wanted to go to the park with Dave Hall. And I was like, "Oh, I have to call Bethany in a few minutes." And he's like, "Just break up with her." And I was like, "Okay." So I called her. I was like, "How do I do it?" And Corey gave me a script, and he was just like, "I think we should be friends. It's not you, it's me." And then I just hung up on her. And
on the telephone and everything.
Right.
Very, very 1999 or 1997, I should say, because that is the first video I'd like to discuss.
Yeah.
I will say that the act began very, there's a lot, I don't know if you call it karate or aerobics, but their act was definitely very, a lot of kicks going in 1997 when they broke onto the scene with Tearing Up My Heart. Would you agree?
So was that just kind of like residual dance moves from the MC Hammer era, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I think the colors of the clothes, and I think you might be right with the dance moves. I mean, there's a lot of bleed over from decade to decade. The early 2000s definitely felt, if you go back and look at some of the pants, and if you go, like, they have movie premiere pictures all over the internet from certain, like, 2002, and you're like, you could not guess what decade it would have been from. But either way, this is, so when you look at, like, All the Small Things video for Blink, and they're wearing all the white shirts. I think the Tearing Up My Heart video is definitely the white shirt thing. But I think what I want to look at when I just talk about these three videos is basically the dynamic between JC and JT, right? And kind of how the power dynamic shifts. And my theory is that JC was supposed to be the star, but then JT kind of took over. And you can see it. JC just kind of loses his mind over the next several hits and music videos. Tearing Up My Heart, everyone kind of has equal screen time. They're kicking all over the damn place. JC's got regular head of hair, and he's got like the white shirt coming off the shoulders with the white tank top thing going.
Right.
And JT has the macaroni hair that you see, the ramen noodle hair. And he's rocking it fresh off the Mickey Mouse Club and things like that. And everything's kosher, right? They're breaking onto the scene. They're following in the footsteps of Backstreet Boys. I think you were saying that Chris Kirkpatrick had failed to make that group, and this kind of spawned off of what Backstreet Boys had already become. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then by 2000 was probably their biggest album, but Bye 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 and It's Gonna Be Me in 2000. But at this point, Justin Timberlake is flipping owning the mac and cheese look. He's grown it out into a fro and is in the front of every music video off that album, pretty much. JC has, like, his screen time has dwindled. They're in the grocery store, they're puppets, everything's different. But Justin, like, something's happened. The shift is on. And by the time 2001 hits and Dirty Pop drops, I think the name of the song is actually just Pop, we're looking at Justin Timberlake has gone full buzz cut. Like, he's a man now. Like, we cannot deny this. And then you look at poor JC, who is supposed to be the original leader of the group, from what I can glean and what I think to be true. And he has like this coiffed 80s poofy haircut, but also frosted tips of that. And he's going through something, I think. I think he's lost his own identity. He's lost a little bit of himself through all this. I think one of those albums was just called Fame. I think, hey, that's a hell of a 4-year run from 1997 to 2001, where they probably pump out like 15 hits in that span.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe only like 7 or 8, but I think you can see the fissures start to form. And, the star that is now JT was blooming right before our very eyes and losing the ramen noodle haircut. And I don't know. What do you think? You text me what you wanted to do for a show this week, and that was kind of my whole idea. Was like, have you ever just watched their music videos in order and been like, oh, damn, this kind of hurts my feelings?
Well, I watched probably all their music videos over the past 3 days. It's been quite a ride. I do want to point out that in the No Strings Attached album cover, for anyone who wants to see it, there will be a link in the show notes for everything we're talking about at Reminiscent Podcast /episode/84. No Strings Attached cover, we have the 5 boys as marionettes floating above a stage. Everyone is in dark denim and a long sleeve black shirt, with the exception of Justin Timberlake, who is wearing a cutoff shirt, veins rippling out of his biceps, and just dead center, taking center stage. And so it's even portrayed in their album covers, because you see in their first release, JT is one to the right. So, yeah, he's definitely took what was rightfully his. If you ask me to name the members of NSYNC, I would say Justin Timberlake and those 4 other guys, like straight up.
I don't know the dude's name. I just think his initials are JC. I could have been getting it wrong this whole time.
I think you're right.
Joey Fatone's obviously a star. I think he was a Dancing with the Stars cast member at one point. Chris Kirkpatrick, because Eminem dissed him for whatever reason. And
he can get you.
Lance Bass, of course. Lance Bass is a legend in his own right. But I guess if you look back at some of the reunion photos, you're just like, man, Chris Kirkpatrick, man, how did that happen? And
I don't even know who that is. I only know him through the Eminem songs.
So what's the story? You were just reading it off online. He didn't get into Backstreet Boys, but he like knew the producer that created NSYNC, or what was the story there?
Oh, yeah. So
like he was just guaranteed a spot because he had a good uncle or something?
This guy Lou Pearlman, who kind of launched the group, who is now serving 25 years in jail for a Ponzi scheme.
Are you sure? He hasn't passed? Am I thinking of a different producer?
I don't know. Well, he's not a producer. He's their manager.
Gotcha.
He also managed Backstreet Boys. Damn, he must have been rich. What's he doing Ponzi schemes for? God. Okay. Yeah, so he saw the success of New Kids on the Block, wanted to start his own group. Backstreet Boys' Howie Duro was responsible for introducing Chris Kirkpatrick to Lou after the two met at a local junior college. After failing to make the cut to join Backstreet, Chris came up with the idea for NSYNC and pitched it to Pearlman. Wow. Okay. So he also recruited Joey Fatone after meeting him at Universal Studios, where they both worked as performers.
That's pretty cool. Well, good for him. So he kind of did the dang thing.
But I think it would make more sense to me if I knew who Chris Kirkpatrick was.
He's the one that like he looked then like white SoundCloud rappers look now. I think. With dreads and whatnot.
Oh, he's in the band.
Trying to make that look work. You know, he was, I guess, the offbeat one. Because, I mean, if you go back to the Spice Girls and everything, like, definitely everyone has their own kind of thing. And Kirkpatrick definitely was, I don't even know if you'd call him the default bad boy based on the way he was dressing. But
I've seen him.
I feel so weird even using these terms. I feel like, what was that? The dance along High School Musical dance along videos narrated by Sharpay's friend in the show. They'd be like, all right, now this is the B-boy stance. You know, it's like, I don't even know what these words mean, but.
Oh man. I still need to check out the B-boy factory, by the way. I'm going to be a B-boy.
Hey, you're never too young to chase your dreams. But.
Oh man. So anyways, the music videos.
Yes. Yeah, I need your thoughts. What do you think? Am I going crazy here? Was there an obvious identity crisis going on with poor JC over time that we had to unfortunately watch occur in real time?
Well, I've got a few things about their music videos. Every one of them seems like a B-list Disney movie Halloween special. I feel like
in a good way or a bad way.
Just with like the animations, right? The green screens, everything looks everything from that era looked a certain way, and it looks even older than late 90s at this point. But I just felt like I was watching the Disney Channel, which I guess is who their target audience was. So maybe that makes sense. But the one thing that really stuck out to me watching these videos is that if you think of modern times, like, you know, the past, I guess, 10 years. And I've mentioned this before, the music video industry is kind of like dead at this point. There's not a lot of money dumped into it because there's not a lot of money to be gained. So think of bands like Best of Me by The Starting Line. They shortened the intro by half. Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. Their whole intro was shortened by half. Arguably the best part was taken out when they cut it down by like 20 seconds to save money to not have such a long video so they didn't have to spend as much. But back in these days with NSYNC, they extended all their music videos. So all the videos are actually quite a bit longer than the album version of the song was. And I thought that was super interesting and just really telling of a time when music videos were super profitable and there was a lot of money backing them. I thought that was super interesting. But at the same time, the quality of videos back then is so bad compared to what we have now. And maybe that's just modern, 4K cameras and whatever. But I thought that was super interesting that they clearly put a lot of money into it. It was a big production. I think I remember NSYNC as better dancers than they were, you know? Like as a child, it just blew my mind, their little kicks and spins and stuff.
I mean, we're talking like almost too many kicks in those early years. I don't know. I mean, like, I think in the movie Hot Rod, it was referred to as a super punch when you put both fists out front and one of your legs as
Ultimate punch, yeah.
Ultimate punch. But, I mean, hey, it was they did it in sync, so that was enough to reach fame, I suppose. Also, have I contested your music video theory before? Is there an article or something you put in the show notes to the rise and fall of music video funding or something? Because I don't know if I believe you.
I've not used any sources on it.
Okay.
My source...
You've workshopped it on the show before, but I don't want to just... I don't mean to be contentious, but I will just come out and say, what?
No, I think... I don't think music videos are... I mean, think of Thriller, right? You're never gonna... Well, I mean... Who was it? Kanye or Kendrick Lamar had that like 29-minute music video.
I think there's still long music videos. They get dropped on Vivo all the time. Doesn't Taylor Swift like constantly smash her own records with like 6 and 7 minute, like crazy music videos?
Yeah, I think
Vivo's the new vehicle, but I think there's still
that's something to think about. Maybe I had a friend who did hair and makeup for music videos that back in like the 80s she was doing it, and it was like a ton of money. Even for her, she made a ton of money doing it, and she was like in New York all the time doing videos. And she was telling me one day, which I guess is where I started thinking about it, that there's just like she hasn't done a music video in forever because no one's, I guess, doing it like that. But maybe it's just the industry changing where most of the bands that I listen to aren't on the radio. So the videos you see of them are just kind of performance videos that they spend $5,000 on. There are still, I guess, big productions, but not at the scale or not as many. I don't know. Maybe there's just more bands. So it seems like less saturated with over-the-top big production videos, but maybe the top players are still doing it, but it's not like everyone is doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, again, that was veering off course, and I apologize. But
no, that's further research. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do our next show on the funding, on the financing of. No, sorry. Okay, but we should at least do this while we're here. We're ranking the boy bands, and I'll share a quick anecdote before.
Oh God, that's hard.
We do that. I remember going to skating parties in middle school, and seeing, I guess you would call them the goth kids because they were the ones in a group wearing black t-shirts, but I don't think they looked super committed to the role. But they all had the graphic tees that had like sharp statements on them in white lettering.
Sure.
And I guess the one was just, F boy bands, and, with like the U, the C, and the K being like pound signs and @ signs and things like that.
Yeah.
And he was wearing this right in the middle of the rink. And I thought it was a bit much for a middle school
God.
skating party. It's like, damn, dude, tone it down. For me personally, I was offended. But also I got to thinking like, man, I don't know. I don't know. Were you a fan of them at the time? Do you feel comfortable even ranking them? I will say that I know the songs. When people play them now at weddings and stuff, it's like, this was a banger. I'm not even going to lie. Like, who am I to front? But back then, there was kind of like, boy bands? No way. I listened to, I don't know, the Beatles.
The Beatles?
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't think that as a teen.
I loved them at the time. There was never a time where I was like, oh, this is fucking lame. I actually had a pretty hefty library fee because I took out a holographic sparkly NSYNC book from some library on the east side and just totally forgot about it. I never opened the book, but I liked the fact that it was sparkly and holographic. My parents might have been a little worried about me at that point, but I always loved it. I loved Backstreet Boys. Like I said, I was jamming them on my own. I remember I only knew Larger Than Life, and my stepsister at the time, Erica, was like, oh, you only have the single version, back when you would just buy a CD with one song on it. And she gave me the full album, and hearing Everybody, I was like, whoa, this is the best music that could ever possibly be made. I was so into it. And I think when it comes to ranking boy bands, in my mind, there's only two. There's only Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Okay.
And
if you do end up moving to Cincinnati, you have to be aware that 98 Degrees, the Lachey brothers, are from here. And I don't know if they dropped out of Miami University of Ohio to go to LA midway through, or they graduated and moved. But they even opened up a bar here called Lachey's, which has since closed. But you would say they would be not even a qualifying band.
well, they have the one song.
That's
98
true,
Degrees,
but he's turned
right?
it into a career of hosting things for ABC
Oh yeah.
and a reality show with him and Jessica Simpson. So he carved out his little Hollywood square. Or
Yeah,
star.
good for him, man. He's an entrepreneur for sure. But I think musically, right? I mean, when
Yeah, I
it
don't
comes,
think they had the hits to I just don't think they did.
I think that for both, I think Backstreet Boys had like a better overall sound, like bangers and slow songs included.
They'd have more slow songs that you would know the words to. I think NSYNC for a shorter time, Bird of Brighter maybe, but Backstreet Boys I think would have to just be the heavyweight and be the overall champ.
I think
Is that too blasphemous?
I think NSYNC might have the better bangers, but Backstreet Boys might be better.
You know, we haven't
all
had a
around.
good hot take in this show in months, and you just dropped the hottest take I think I've ever heard in my freaking life. But I'm here for it. I love it. I want people to write in about it. Tweet the show.
Yes,
Better
tweet the show
bangers.
_.
NSYNC had the better
FM.
bangers. You heard it here first, folks. And
Yeah.
quite frankly, I'm shocked. And I just need a minute to collect my thoughts and feelings, because that was an absolute stone cold stunner on my emotions. Everything I have known to be true in this world about Tom, myself, and the music industry. Good God, Tom, I've got a family. How dare you? I'm just kidding. I think it might be true. I don't know, man. Jessie, growing up, always said she was. She said she was definitely Team Backstreet Boys, just because I think it was very, like, I only got into Blink-182 because my sister happened to have a Burn CD that she let me listen to for like a weekend.
Right.
And you were saying you had a stepsister who happened to give you the back. I think it was very dependent on how you got your hands on the CD of whatever band you ended up worshiping. So I think we could find somebody who was like, I don't know, I happened to just get my hands on No Strings Attached in 2000 and that was my stuff. But I don't know how you couldn't have been aware of Backstreet Boys at that time, because they would have been already famous, right? I don't know. Like there would have already been a skating party where everyone was singing Everybody at, right?
Right.
And you would have been like, oh man, no, I'm in sync. I got to hold strong. No, I feel like you just would have been bobbing along.
Well, I think I
I don't
mentioned
think
it
the
too.
rivalry was real at the time, was it? It was just like boy bands were just kind of happening overall.
I think I mentioned it 2 episodes ago. Everyone started singing Everybody when they shut the music off at my wedding when it was after 10 o'clock. And that song was actually in my playlist. It would have been the next song that was played had they let the playlist go another song. But there were no NSYNC songs in my wedding playlist. So that also counts for something.
I think it does. I think your heart and your soul know that Backstreet Boys might have the better bangers. Who's to say? I don't know. Your hot take is so contentious. I don't even know what to say. It's throwing the show through a loop. I think we're both lost in our own emotions. I think we need to take 5. No, what I do want to say though, the boy band thing, kind of, I guess my favorite part of it was when they did Making a Band. Oh, there's 2 things. There's the famous Conan sketch where he's like, gathers a bunch of dudes to make a fake boy band as a sketch, right? And they're in a classroom, and he's like, all right, guys, what's like a word? And the one guy's like, oh, a baby. He's like, good. And they're like, yeah. He's like, you know what? You guys just start slapping each other's backs and giving each other's high fives more often. You need to be more excited to be here. And he writes the word baby. And then he's like, all right, guys, think of like another word. And, they're all looking at each other like, oh, man, this is hard. She's like, what about this? Baby. Do you want to be my baby? And they're all like, oh, yeah. It's like one of the most legendary late night sketches ever, I would argue. Anyway,
Okay.
That's one of my favorite things to come out of the boy band era. and the show Making the Band, which produced O-Town, which I'd love to hear your take on whether or not 98 Degrees or O-Town was the bigger band, because Liquid Dream and did they have a second hit? I don't know, but I think you could argue that it snaps or it low-key slaps. I just think it was definitely part of the conversation.
Does it thump though, Pat? That's what I'm looking for.
I'm looking at you for answers, my man.
Oh God, I don't know an O-Town song.
Yeah, you do. Liquid Dream was a hit.
Liquid Dream, how's that go? Sing it for me.
Something about Jennifer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Liquid Dreams. Posters of love surrounding me, lost in the world of fantasy. Every night she comes to me and gives me all the love I need. Ooh, sounds sexy. I dream about a girl who's a mix of Destiny's Child, just a little touch of Madonna's wild style, with Janet Jackson's smile, throw in a body like Jennifer's. Is that Aniston?
See, that's the thing. I would assume Lopez, given the time period, because Friends would have been winding down at this point.
Okay. I've outed myself before as a big Jennifer Aniston fan back in the day.
I think literally anyone who owned a television set in the 90s would have to say they also fell victim. You literally just sang the song like in rhythm while reading the chorus. You've heard that song.
No, I don't think I can place the melody at all.
I need you to listen to it for like a minute and take a break from the show.
That's what I have to say.
Oh, so you're saying 98 Degrees trumps the absolute unbridled banger that was Liquid Dream by O-Town? Okay. I don't think that show. Did that show have a second season? It doesn't matter. The whole point is it reached critical mass at that point. And now Backstreet Boys has a Vegas residency, which means we are, whether we like it or not, have become adults. I think that's clear now.
Dude, Blink-182 has a Vegas residency.
No, they don't.
Yes, they absolutely do, Pat.
Where?
Vegas. I don't know. Look it up, dude. They play Vegas like 4 times a week.
Why'd you have to do this to me right now?
Tom would not have let that happen. Am I right?
I'm not going to do the Tom Mark thing with you today.
Well, one thing I do want to say, the last thing about Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, I think the feud between the two was absolutely brilliant marketing because the same guy managed them, right? Like it's in their best interest for them both to do well. There was no animosity between the two groups, right? Like they were friends, right? They toured together and shit.
I don't know enough about it, but I guess, I don't know, it's kind of like you see it in capitalism all the time, and this could be totally wrong, but like if there's one thing, there's allowed to be a second thing other people prefer, whether it's better or not, right? Like that's just the competition. I don't know.
Well, what I'm specifically thinking of is there were some, if you want to call it journalism, I'm not sure, but groups, companies that would post super far right and super far left articles with similar wording, but they would change it just enough. And the same company would publish both, and then they would profit off of both sides. And that's like a good way to make more money. Like you play both sides. And I feel like that's what these record companies and especially the fact that they have the same manager is most telling, that the preference between either of them and what drove so hard is like, are you Team Backstreet or Team NSYNC, was totally manufactured just to make more money off of both of them. I think that's brilliant. Don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man. Wag the dog, dude. Stay woke.
Sure, whatever. Anyways, Justin Timberlake.
What I'm saying is everyone should vote because voting's the coolest.
Didn't mean to hit you with that journalism stuff. I know it's touchy.
Brush your teeth. What's that one?
Brush your damn teeth.
Yeah. The PSA that came out in like 2005 or something.
Stephanie almost broke up with me because I was watching it and laughing at it with you.
It was so good.
Yep.
Brush your mother effing teeth.
Bossum land. What? Spinning rims.
Yeah. It's like solid advice. Like the best thing Little John ever did. Well, no, he did a lot of other good things too. For example, the song "Yeah." That's a good one.
Oh, I had a really quick fun fact in here. The song "Gone" by NSYNC. One of the dudes in NSYNC wrote, I think it was Justin Timberlake, wrote it for Michael Jackson, and they rejected the song, so then they used it for NSYNC.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wag the dog, dude. Stay woke. I'm just kidding.
Dank
I will say this.
Melt steel beams.
I own NSYNC a few baseball pitching wins in my baseball career.
Oh.
Because for whatever reason, I had success in a game in Little League as a kid when Dirty Pop was on the radio in between innings. It got stuck in my head, and it always provided a source of comfort for me in a weird way. So if my two-seam wasn't drifting away from right-handed hitters like I knew it to, I'd go four-seam and sing Dirty Pop in my head, or it would just kind of play in my head, and it would definitely center me.
Yes.
And I owe them that much at least. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever even thought that to myself, even to say out loud to anybody, but I know it to be true now that I think about it, because it definitely happened dozens of times. But it never, it was definitely like a calming, like pump you up thing. So thanks, NSYNC, for my actually decent ERA of my senior year.
Oh, this was senior year of high school?
Sports stuff. Yeah, it was just one of those things. You know how you have muscle memory? It was just like whenever I was on the mound, there was only so many thoughts that were going to come to my head, and Dirty Pop was definitely one of them.
That's so awesome. I love it.
It got me fired up, dude.
So as this episode is winding down,
that year, no, the year before that, for whatever reason, the team song that everyone enjoyed was "Pop, Lock and Drop It." It was like the whitest locker room scene you've ever seen. But we played it before one game and we won, so we were like, I guess we have to keep. And we went on like a 10-game winning streak. So for like 3 weeks, we exclusively listened to "Pop, Lock and Drop It." Oh my God. Anyway, the 2000s were a strange time for sure. That's enough baseball stories for today.
No, that's great. So as this episode winds down, we got a few minutes. What do we do?
Well, I didn't even ask you how you're doing.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, you've been working more at home lately.
Oh my God, Pat! I am massively enjoying working from home 3 days a week. Just producing podcasts, and I need some more episodes for sure. I very quickly went from 5 days a week to 3 at Tesla, and then in one of my editing clients slowed down. So I'm always looking for more work, but making moves. And oh my God, dude, just being able to like take the dog out, and now that I have this dope Apple Watch, it's actually provided more value than I originally thought. It's keeping me active. Been riding the bike a little more to try to close those rings, and I definitely do a lot better when I'm working at Tesla, because that's a super active job. But yeah, it's awesome, man. Over the past 2 weeks, I've realized that my fear of working from home being too like isolated or boring or lonely or whatever
turned out to be your super dream.
Yeah. Like, it's the greatest thing ever.
What's scarier, that being bad or being the best? Like, you never have to leave the house.
No, I mean, I'll leave the house.
You should leave the house. You should go see people in the real world sometime.
It's been awesome, dude. It's so awesome.
Walk to the King Supers, dude.
Yeah, it's right there. I've been trying to get the basement set up for when you and Jesse come to visit.
Yes.
Getting things in order.
That's up in a few weeks here. We got a wedding up in Fort Collins, I think. That's where Colorado State is. But we'll be staying the night in Denver on Friday and driving up, I think.
Yeah. And then we were looking into making it to your wedding. Tickets are not going down. So we were like, do we drive 12 hours each way? Because, we're both, Megan's a little concerned about money at this point. Might just throw everything on a credit card. Dude, either way, we're going to be there.
There would be no pressure, certainly. Hey, it is what it is.
No, dude, I can't fucking wait. I'm so hyped. I might just throw the tickets on a card.
And if it's just you and not Megan or whatever.
Oh, no, we'll make it work, man. I mean, you and Jesse were at our wedding just a few weeks ago in fucking Vermont, of all places.
I was going to play the card. I wasn't going to play the card. Right. You are one of my ringers, though, on the dance floor. There's you and my friend Clayton from Albuquerque. So.
Were you thinking for a second that I would say I couldn't come?
I think based on where and when, I was ready for nobody to be there. I'm like thrilled that several are. So,
dude, I'll be there like shareware, dude. I can't wait.
I've never heard that, but I love it, and I'm digging it.
I was even thinking, I was like, if I drive, or if I were to go alone, which it doesn't seem like I'm going to.
But you totally can. And there's no pressure, and we get it. Because I've gone to weddings. I went to my cousin Beth's wedding without Jesse before, and it's just the reality of the situation.
Sure. I don't work, until Thursdays at Tesla. So I was like, well, what if I just like go for like a whole week and just like hang out? But then I was like, Wait, it's in Fort Smith, Arkansas. No one's going to be staying there for extra days. Right?
I'll get there Thursday. You could stop by Dallas. You could do a little road trip. You could go through the Ozarks with Zach and
Dallas
his wife. I think they're driving. You can make a little road trip out of it.
My car is kind of, since I don't drive it very much, I'm not putting money into the repairs for it.
Well, here's what you could do. You could look at the price of the plane ticket both ways, or weigh the cost of a rental car for 1 week, which might be competitive with that. I'm just throwing it out there.
But then you got gas. The plane ticket's only $400.
That's actually not bad. It's not bad.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I saw tickets
coming from Albuquerque. I don't know. I'm realizing that I had to fly so much more than anybody would ever need to or want to fly. I'm not saying I enjoyed it, but yeah, living in Albuquerque was definitely like, I'm thinking like how much money I've spent on plane tickets through the years. But yeah, I don't know. It's obviously it is what it is. Jesse and I both grew up near very tiny airported towns, so whether it was in Erie or
that's hard.
Fort Smith, it wasn't going to be. I mean, I think there's like 2 flights in and out of the Fort Smith airport, which one goes to Atlanta through Delta, and one goes to Dallas through American. So
right, yep.
There's only so many. It is what it is. To be honest, everyone flying in on Friday you'll probably see half the wedding party just on those planes. I'd imagine.
Right. I was just a little bummed out because, I'm flying out of Denver, so tickets are pretty cheap out of there to anywhere. But Megan and I were like already looking at like anniversary flights, and I was like looking at Sweden, like round trip for like $250. And I was like, oh, that's dope. I wonder how much Fort Smith is. Like $400. What the f? Like that's local, dude.
I know.
So putting it in that context.
If you move to Cincinnati, you can go to Iceland on WOW Airlines for like $100. They say.
Damn.
I'm sure there are fees, but Iceland's the new Pueblo, dude. Or the new Aspen. I messed up the whole thing.
Well, I say that to Megan all the time. Pueblo's the new Aspen. I don't even know.
What does she say?
She just like doesn't. I mean, she didn't listen to the
doesn't have to give a shit. Yeah, doesn't have to care. I don't know why that tweet is burned into my brain.
What was that? Where did that?
It was some
start?
basketball writer named Ryan Russillo, and he saw Colin Cowherd, who's like a sports radio guy, talking to a GM for the NFL or something, and somebody said caption this photo, and he said, "Oh, dude, Pueblo, it's the new Aspen." It's very funny.
Oh my god.
Colorado. It's changing ever since they legalized that devil's lettuce, don't you know?
God, I hate it. Yeah, so do you want to give a song of the week?
John.
I'll do 2 things of the week, but they won't be songs, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
Which is, an evergreen statement for me on this show. One,
I'll just replay the clip.
The app Hopper, Hopper, is you can plug in flights that you're going to take, and it'll alert you when it thinks its data projects the flights to go up or down.
Cool.
I used it this year because we had to fly for a couple weddings, not to mention our own and the honeymoon and things, and it would be like, you should wait, or I think you should jump on it now because the price is not going to fluctuate too much more from what we can tell. So Hopper, Hopper app, I think it's very useful. And the show Glow, the 2nd season has dropped.
Ooh.
I binged both seasons last weekend. I'm late to this, but it's good. If you haven't seen it, you just do it. I mean, I'm a fan of Mark Maron and Alison Brie and everyone involved already. Maron just had me rolling. I love, he plays the same character every time, but it's a good one and I enjoy it.
I got to give a massive shout out to The Story So Far. They just released a song called Let It Go off of their album that will be coming out in September. They've been super quiet for a long time, so them dropping this song today actually was super fucking awesome. The song rips, and can't wait for the album. Can't wait to see him live with Coheed and Taking Back Sunday, and that's my recommendation this week.
Thank you for the lovely morning. I've enjoyed my coffee, and see you next week, everybody. Love you, Tom.
Love you too, man.
Bye.
See you.
Baby, bye.